Hello! Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are playing the Innsmouth Case demo, or Innsmouth Case. It's a Lovecraft game, 100%, because of the word Innsmouth. I am terrible at that pronunciation, so please tell me, how are you supposed to be pronouncing the name? Innsmouth? Innsmouth. Anyways, let's begin. What is this? Oh. Boston. Forward. We are fans of the strange world of Innsmouth, but we recognize the problematic beliefs of H.P. Lovecraft. This game has been produced by a group of people who believe in inclusion and equality. I 100% agree. Your progress in this story will be saved at the end of each chapter. There are 35 chapters in total. At the end of a chapter, the screen fades to black and a green save icon appears at the bottom right of the screen. This thing. We recommend you always end the game after such a save point to make sure none of your progress is lost. If you play a chapter a second time, press escape to skip text and go to the next decision. Okay. Boston, 21st September. The last rays of sunshine filter through the blinds of your empty office. The pathetic stench of whiskey, cold cigarette smoke, and canned ravioli fills the air. Canned ravioli? Ugh. The screeching tires and constant beeping of car horns out there on the street tell you that it's gone 8 p.m. People are on their way home, finishing their day. You should join them. You decide to stay at your desk to go home. You breathe a deep sigh. It may not have been a successful day, but at least it's over. You are looking forward to a classic Friday night, watching old mystery series at home in sweatpants and getting drunk on cheap booze. Since the early afternoon, you have been staring at the foreboding bottle of liquor at the other end of the room. Up until now, did I accidentally double-click? Can I go back? Huh. Up until now, a vague sense of professionalism has kept you from drinking yourself into oblivion. Now, nothing stands in the way. Suddenly, you hear someone at the door say, "Who is it?" The door slowly cracks open with a timid creak. The unknown guest pauses. Then, in a breathy and melodic tone, you hear a woman utter, "Hello?" Your insides cramp. You suddenly realize that you haven't cleaned your office at all this year. Oh my gosh. You invite her in. Yeah. Oof. By the light of the desk lamp, you now see more than a silhouette. A breathtaking woman lights up your office. No doubt older than 40, maybe even 50. Hard to say. Clad in black, a skin-tight dress culminating in a décolleté. I hope that's how it's pronounced. Décolleté that seems to defy the laws of gravity. A smoky eyeshadow as dark as algae washed ashore. Blonde, coiffed, wavy hair under a dark beret. The faint light of the setting sun catches in the strands of her hair, and you wonder how many heads this woman must have turned during her prime. She's completely different from your usual customers, nervous bankers with sweat stains under their armpits, convinced their wives have something going on with the mailman. Every move she makes is calculated grace. Smooth as an eel, she walks towards you and sits down on the corner of your desk. Determined, she walks towards you and sits down on the corner of your desk, which is a little bold. I will do this one. Which is a little bold, without asking you first, but as a professional, you're not giving anything away. She seems to want to play the seductive damsel in distress. The quiet, amused voice of your subconscious is pleased that this stranger may be sharing your enthusiasm for film noir cliches. A far louder voice is surprised that this woman seems to think that a sexy pose and revealing clothes could win you over, and both voices agree that you don't like being manipulated. You don't think that the stranger perched on your table is trying to recover from a hard-working day as a lingerie model, and therefore you see no logical reason for her behavior. This is a lot of monologuing. Not even speaking yet, there's a lot of monologuing. When she begins to speak, her voice is smoky and full of promise. My name is Dyla Marsh. I'm looking for a private investigator. I was told you are one of the best. She extends her hand. Kiss her hand. You've come to the right place. Decline. Of course I will find your missing daughter. How did we jump to this? How do we jump to, of course I'll find your missing daughter? I don't want to kiss her hand. I've got all this monologuing in the back of my head. There's no shake your hand. Oh, just kiss it. You kiss her hand and waggle your eyebrows. In the same manner you've seen so often in those classic movies. This woman moves in higher circles and is used to luxury. You can tell by the strong smell of caviar she gives off. Really? Caviar is fish eggs. I've never smelled caviar personally. But does that mean she smells fishy? Why would you want to smell fishy? That sounds weird. If you play this right, you might even be able to increase the fee for this case. But what is the case? What now? Keep flirting, get down to business. It's about my daughter, Tabitha. She has disappeared. You're pulling out paper and pencil. This is gonna be a walk in a park. A walk in the kidnapped kids park. Well, when did you last see her and where? The woman puts on a fake smile. We live in Innsmouth. We live in Innsmouth. It's a small port town north of Arkham. You frown. This is a bit vague. What was your child doing when you last saw her? What hobbies does she have? Oh, kid stuff. They just run around and play with their yo-yos, that sort of thing. Dyla nervously combs her hands through her hair. What about her father? What about Tabitha's father? Are you separated? Often children reappear with family members. Dahlia smiles sadly. My little one can't swim well enough for that yet. Your pen remains on the same spot on the notepad. What was that supposed to mean? The father drowned? Let her talk. Dahlia turns her gaze away from you and looks longingly out of the window. Her father was a fisherman, like most in the village. A few years ago he went out to sea but never returned. His boat was washed ashore weeks later. His colleagues told me that he had finally followed the call of the waves. You keep quiet for a moment. Deceased family members are always a sensitive subject. My sincere condolences. She seemed calm. Oh, somehow, I always knew that moment would come. I think my husband is in a better place now, and at some point, I'll join him. You take a closer look at Dahlia's outfit. Judging by her behavior and clothes, you never would have taken her to be a fisherman's wife. Yeah. You inquire about this. Forgive me for asking, but what do you do for a living? Dahlia's jaws tense. I work in Innsmouth's tourism department. Why do you ask? For a fisherman's widow and a single mom, you're surprisingly well dressed. Either the tourism industry is more lucrative than I thought, or your husband was quite well insured. Take a theatrical break. Or is there another explanation? Dahlia smiles uncertainly. My family is wealthy, old money, and some kind of local nobility. I don't understand what this question has to do with my missing daughter. There's a combative glint in her eyes. Aha. Ask more about the case. Dahlia nervously combs her hands through her hair. Let's go through this one. Does your daughter have any friends she might be staying with? Classmates, sports club members, anything like that? Dahlia silently shakes her head. Very strange. You're about to ask if the girl at least had imaginary friends, but you hold back. Let's do this one. She's only 8 and the sweetest girl you can imagine. She's been missing without a trace since last week. None of her schoolmates have seen her, and no one knows where she might have gone. She hands you a photo. Look, this is my little munchkin. Oh my god! Good heavens! Is this supposed to be a joke? Is that really the face of a child? Or a shoddy photo edit? Are you being filmed as part of a reality TV show? Wait, what era are we in? A bit of stomach acid and the last bite of lunch slowly but surely make their way back up into the back of your mouth. You throw up into the drawer of your desk, swallow it. With narrow eyes, you swallow the bile and involuntarily pull a face. Dahlia continues to look at you hopefully. She obviously didn't notice your little mishap. That was close and could have been unpleasant. I'm so desperate. Her eyes lock with yours. Do you think there's something strange about your child? Ask more questions about the case. Yo-yos. Hold on. Yo-yos? Ring, ring. Can you hear that? It's the nighties calling and they want their outdated toys back. Dahlia blushes. Normally, you would find this quite attractive, but the case of a missing girl beckons and you're utterly unconvinced, by the way. This one pretends to be a mother. She remains silent. Confront her. Something's fishy here. You have a nose for that sort of thing. That's why you became a private investigator. Or to be more precise, that's why you took an online detective course that, for a one-off fee, provided the necessary qualification. It's time to take your visitor to task. Look at her close. Why did you come to me? Innsmouth is several miles away from here. Why do you want to hire me? I wouldn't even hire myself. Dahlia crosses her arms. What do you care? Do you want to be paid or not? Right now, I just want the truth. You're sticking to your principles. That's exactly what your instructor warned you about. Still, it feels good. Step back and releases her tightly crossed. I already tried lots of other investigators. Anyone who seemed trustworthy, really. But no luck. That's why I'm coming to you. Oof. Ouch. Accept it. You nod. A missing persons case. Nothing unusual. The conventional little girl runs away from home after reading her first romance novel. Usually they hide at the edge of the forest or in a library. Should be pretty straightforward. Before you can say anything, she drops a photo of the child and a roll of bills on your desk. For your expenses. You nod slowly, trying not to drool down the front of your shirt. You haven't seen this much money in ages. You don't have much time to prepare. A quick search reveals that only one bus goes to Innsmouth, and only once a day. A pattern emerges in your research. A few news items related to this little coastal town are all about missing persons. In addition, you find some rather old-fashioned articles that praise the coastal town as a secret holiday destination. The best fish, untouched beach promenade, authentic fishing people are the occurring buzzwords. What the fudge is authentic fishing people? Dahlia has given you the address at which you're supposed to drop off her daughter as soon as you find her. She also wrote down her phone number on the photo, on the child's photo. You take another look at the photo before you pack your things. Seaside. Next morning you travel by bus. Your journey begins at a busy bus station. There's supposed to be a bus line that departs from here to Innsmouth. Buses, you think to yourself, are not only an environmentally friendly means of transportation, they're also easy on your wallet. Sadly, the departure boards aren't of much help. New York, Maine, Rhode Island, no trace of Innsmouth as a destination. You wander around for a while until you notice a cleaner eating a sandwich on the side of one of the vending machines. You look around, talk to the cleaner. Excuse me, where can I find the bus to Inns? Without letting go of a sandwich, the cleaner points to an abandoned counter in the dingiest corner that a public bus station could be capable of. The man gives you a nod, indicating that anything that can be said has indeed been said. You find that the counter is elaborately decorated with cobwebs. It's a bit early for Halloween preparations, but at least someone's made an effort. At the moment, nobody seems to be there. You press your face against the plastic window to peer into the room behind. Hello? Hello, is anyone there? I have to go to Innsmouth. No one there. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a bus ticket appears on the counter. Might the trip be free? Should you leave payment? Leave a donation. You're a staunch defender of the law. It goes without saying that you pay. You put a few coins in the bowl underneath the foggy glass window. Hopefully that won't be stolen by the next passenger. Even if someone were sitting behind the counter, you wouldn't be able to see him. It's just too dark. You are distracted for a few seconds and suddenly there's some change on the counter. What's that in amongst the coins? A small golden fishing hook? How strange. Where's this bus hiding? In between the polished greyhounds and travelers stowing their luggage, saying goodbye and dropping tiredly into their seats, there's a kind of dumpster. A dumpster with windows and wheels. No, it's actually a bus. It's a bit on the rusty side, and even from a distance you smell the strange smell it emits. Is that sulfur? You're not convinced how this thing is supposed to drive. In its vicinity, everything is noticeably quieter than at the other bus stops. The people getting on show no sign of emotion. Nobody is trying to jump the queue here. Instead, passengers move past the bus driver at a uniform speed, one after the other, shuffling up the creaky steps. Each two-seater bench is occupied by individuals, as if they want to make sure not to come into contact with their other fellow passengers. The sign clearly says Innsmouth. No departure times, no stopovers, just Innsmouth. On the bus. Undecided, you're standing on the stairs of the bus. Talk to the driver, show your ticket. You hand the driver the ticket. No reaction, at least you can't make out a reaction. The lighting is poor, and the shadow on his face, on his dusty driver's cap, covers almost his entire face. You notice something strange on his neck, but you can't quite make out what it might be. You're standing in the door, waiting for an okay and not anything. The sulfur odor has increased. A queue has formed behind you, but no one is pushing or complaining. Just keep walking. You shuffle inside through the center aisle. You don't remember the bus looking this long from the outside. You're surrounded by shabby two-seater benches, and some are already occupied, one traveler per row. The last bench is free. Looks like the upholstery's torn in some places though, or has it been slit open? You can see springs with sharp wire edges, and some sticky liquid seems to have leaked onto the floor. Why didn't you just sit down in one of the free rows? Here in the back, almost everything is occupied. Most of the passengers seem to have purposefully sat down in the aisle seats, blocking off the window seats. Maybe this is an opportunity to get a little closer to the common Innsmouth visitor. You gaze across the rows of seats. Sit down with someone. As a nonconformist, you join one of the passengers in a double seat. Since only one man was so considered as to sit at the window, your options are limited anyway. As far as you can tell, the man is a haggard figure with barely any luggage. The hood of the gray jumper pulled far onto his face. The man looks out onto the street as if something very important is happening there that requires his attention. Is this seat taken? You ask politely. He turns his head and gives you a brief once-over. Without saying a word, he turns away again. Sit down anyway. Alright, that wasn't a no either. You sit down and regret it instantly. The smell of sulfur is now overpowered by something else. Something that smells like it's been in the sun for too long. You're trying to catch a glimpse of what's under that hoodie. Does this person have a genetic defect? Is he malnourished? Not sure exactly where the problem might be, but you're trying to stay professional. You awkwardly stare at the headrest of the person in front of you. Talk to the stranger next to you. This is a chance to get some inside information. Do small talk about veganism? Why? Play the tourist. Ooh, what the frick is this? You clear your throat before you speak, twitching with a slight tremor. The man turns to you. Excuse me, I'm visiting Innsmouth for the first time. Do you happen to come from there? A twitch is all you get. Maybe you should get right to the point. Hard to tell if you're boring him. Ask for a few tourism tips. Does Innsmouth have any sights? Your neighbor stares into the middle distance. Is he thinking? The silence between the two of you is hardly bearable. The beach, he finally stutters. Your eyes meet again. The old town, he adds. Well, that could have gone worse. The small talk has been gruelingly slow, so you decide to let it go. This ride is taking forever. The bus leaves the country road and turns off at a wooden sign that says Innsmouth in red flaky letters. The journey continues rather bumpily along a narrow dirt road littered with numerous potholes. In the distance, some houses are already visible, seagulls circling the roofs of the outermost edge of the city. Slowly, all passengers take their bags out from under their seats and get ready. Curious, you look through the front window, side window. That's odd. The bus passes by a huge, what is this? A scrapyard? Parking lot? Why would something like this be here, right outside the city? You pass another wooden sign whose half-peeled writing advertises the Innsmouth Park and Ride area. A lot of cars look like they've been sitting here for years. Sand covers some of the bonnets and windshields and windscreens. The front door of the bus opens with a squeak, and you join the monotonous line of locals stepping out of the bus as if in a daze, almost walking in step. You all get closer to the exit. As you walk down the steps, you have to protect your eyes from the sunlight. Turns out the windows of the bus were tinted. The other passengers shuffle off. Finally, Innsmouth. You examine your surroundings while you stretch your legs, trying to unwind from the stressful journey. No artist could have adequately captured the serenity and beauty of this place. A clear blue sky lights up the town square, which is paved with bright limestone and surrounded by neo-colonial buildings reminiscent of 19th century New England. A fresh sea breeze, crying seagulls, and locals going about their business. In the center of the square, water trickles from a fountain. As you stretch your limbs and breathe in the clean air, you're suddenly startled by the water feature right in front of you. The fountain is an enormous fish-like brass creature. An open jaw lined with shark-like fangs spouts brackish water down its massive, inhumanely contorted body. An open jaw lined with shark-like fangs spouts brackish water down its massive, inhumanly contorted body. As if that wasn't enough, there appears to be human bodies squirming beneath its massive claws. Their faces are as contorted as yours is right now. How long have you been standing here? Eyes wide open in shock, you feel utterly paralyzed. You start to scan the town square and notice more and more disturbing details. On every corner, you spot ornamental statues and reliefs of fish. But these are not your classic harmless kind of fish. These are pagan symbols and grimaces of supernatural creatures from the darkest crevices of the deep sea. In surrounding houses, you can see faces pressed against the windows. All the locals appear to be watching you. You suddenly start to think that the cries of the seagulls sound particularly human-like. They sound like humans crying out in pain. What happened to the idyllic scene from a few moments ago? Welcome to Innsmouth. Turn around. Welcome to Innsmouth. How nice of you to visit. A small elderly woman waves at you from afar. She beams at you as if you were her long-lost grandchild. She seems very different to the bores you've met so far on the bus into town. Her squealing shakes you out of your nightmarish panic. It's so good to have you here. I've noticed you're very taken by our local fountain. It was built in 1704 by Abdul Necrotis, favorite artist and friend of Charles Dexter Tillinghast, the founder of Innsmouth. That central figure was present, and it was supposed to commemorate their travels together to Cairo. You can clearly see the Egyptian influences in Necrotis' work here and here. She points wildly in every direction. And here, but I'm sure you've already noticed this yourself. You look like someone who knows his way around art, she says with a wide smile. You're still in shock. She beams at you. Oh, have I not introduced myself? I'm ever so sorry. In front of you now stands a small, plump person in a tasteless costume. Your rudeness doesn't seem to curb her enthusiasm in the slightest. My name is Muriel Pooping Place. I'm the director of the Parks Commission, Chief Tourism Officer, and head of the Welcoming Committee. Ta-da! Behind Muriel, there's a ramshackle wooden information stand lovingly decorated with balloons. A colorful painted sign reads, "Welcome to Innsmouth." Muriel tiptoes over to her information stand and picks up a whole load of flyers and leaflets from the rickety display cases. She looks down at all the papers in her arms and briefly shrieks with laughter. My goodness, why don't you take this city map to begin with? Useful. You take the map and put it into your coat pocket. Would you like to find out more about our wonderful town, which has been awarded the East Coast Stunning Town Award for several years in a row? And would you? Actually, I'm looking for some. Here I am! The small plump woman starts giggling. Innsmouth welcomes you warmly. So you're looking for someone. It's not that uncommon for two lonely hearts to find one another in this romantic place. Muriel winks at you. Oh, Muriel, I think I've already found someone. You whisper in the woman's ear and then lean back to give her a little wink. Muriel blushes and starts fanning herself with brochures in her hands. Oh, you're such a flirt. Keep flirting. You start shifting your weight around and try out some of the postures that you've practiced in front of the mirror precisely for this occasion, meaning to flirt with an older woman. By now, Muriel is red in the face and keeps fanning herself while giggling like a schoolgirl from the 1950s. You cheeky fellow! I think I know exactly where you'll be able to enjoy yourself. What does that mean? She hands you a small white card. The Wet Grotto, a honky-tonk near the harbor of Innsmouth. This is impressive. Did this old lady just manage to turn your attempt to flirting into a tourism recommendation? Thanks ever so much, ma'am. Muriel seems delighted. Nothing gives me more pleasure than ensuring visitors have a great time in our pretty little town. Will you be staying for a few nights? I can only recommend staying as long as you can. There's just so much to see. Trust me, by the end of your stay, you won't want to leave. How long are you going to stay? It's a short trip. Oh, what a shame. Muriel's enthusiasm quickly fades from her eyes and she drops her hands, which are still holding the colorful flyers. I hope you find what you're looking for. Have a great time. Her eyes move past you and settle on a tourist family right behind you. Seemingly at the flick of a switch, she's back to her gleeful demeanor, bouncing over to the family and waving her brochures. You head further into town along the cobbled road in the direction of the coast. Not long ago, the sun was bright in the sky, but already the first wafts of mist are creeping into the streets. The air feels thicker, and the sun can no longer penetrate the fog. Time to think about where you want to go. You slow down, you lean your briefcase against the wall, and start pacing up and down the quiet alleyway. You've got an important choice to make right now. The city center is in the north. Even from afar, you can see the outlines of the old and ornately decorated buildings in the main town square, where you should find the police station, the main shopping street, and of course the town hall. As a coastal town, Innsmouth also has a harbor. From your research, you found out that this is a bustling area with a dreamy beach. You expect there to be mostly tourists. According to your research, the only hotel in town, the Gilman Hotel, is located in the old town. You think about checking in. You could do with freshening up and getting rid of that bus smell that is clinging to your clothes. Just as you're about to set off, your heart leaps into your throat. You've forgotten your briefcase. This has never happened to you. You usually take good care of the little you possess. There is nothing you can do about this now. You'll have to wait until your return journey to find out whether someone has handed it in at the Lost and Found. Still, you could swear that the briefcase was already gone when you got off the bus. You decide on the city center. Booyah! You finished the first 3 chapters of Innsmouth Case. Alright, the full version includes 35 chapters. Even more awkward encounters with over 30 animated characters, tentacles, countless story branches, and over 160,000 words. We hope you enjoyed the start of your journey. Do you want to start over and choose a different path? Oh, wow. This is actually a very charming little game. I quite enjoy it so far. What do you guys think? Should I continue and get the game? Let me know in the comment section. Alright, thank you so much you guys for hanging out with me. Let me know your overall thoughts on the way this game has been written. I think it's quite charming. It was very surprising when they made it very relevant to today. I wasn't expecting that at all. Thank you so much you guys for hanging out and hope to see you in the next one. Bye!